What if I told you that the hour you spend at the gym is almost entirely irrelevant to how much belly fat you actually lose? Not slightly irrelevant, almost entirely. Because here's what the science actually shows, and this will change the way you think about your body forever. The gym is just the trigger. Sleep is the weapon. The fat you lose, the stubborn, dangerous, organ-wrapping visceral fat that shortens your life and bloats your midsection, the vast majority of its chemical breakdown happens while you are lying in the dark, completely unconscious, doing absolutely nothing. And the reason most people never lose it isn't because they don't work hard enough, it's because they spend every single night accidentally telling their body to store it instead of burn it. Tonight, that changes. To understand why, you need to understand what's actually happening inside your body after the sun goes down. Your body runs on hormonal shifts. Think of it like a factory operating two separate crews on two separate shifts. The day crew is led by cortisol. Cortisol is brilliant at its job. It floods your blood with sugar for quick energy, keeps your brain sharp, your senses alert, your muscles ready to move. You need it. But cortisol has one critical flaw when it comes to fat loss. It chemically locks your fat cells shut. When cortisol is high, your body cannot access stored fat for fuel. It is a biological wall. Now the night crew is led by human growth hormone, HGH. This is the hormone your body uses to repair torn muscle tissue, to rebuild cellular structures, and most importantly for our purposes, to aggressively mobilize and oxidize visceral fat for energy while you sleep. HGH is one of the most powerful fat-burning compounds your body produces, and it is produced almost entirely at night, in the deep stages of sleep, for free, automatically, provided one condition is met: cortisol must be gone. These two hormones cannot occupy the same space. They are shift workers, and the night crew will not clock in until the day crew has left the building. The tragedy is, for the vast majority of people, the day crew never leaves. Cortisol stays elevated well past midnight, sometimes until 2 or 3 in the morning, because of decisions made in the final 3 hours before sleep that most people don't even realize are decisions at all. This protocol is about changing that, step by step, hour by hour, starting with your last meal. 3 hours before you close your eyes, you need to stop eating. This is not about calorie counting or willpower. This is chemistry. When you eat, your body releases insulin to manage the incoming glucose. Insulin and fat burning are fundamentally incompatible. Insulin's job is to store energy, not release it, and at night, this conflict becomes even more damaging because insulin directly suppresses melatonin, the hormone that initiates your entire overnight recovery cascade. When you eat a heavy meal close to sleep, especially when loaded with carbohydrates, your core body temperature rises as your digestive system fires up, your insulin spikes, and your brain receives a biochemical signal that the body is still in active mode. The result is lighter, fragmented sleep and a metabolic environment that is almost entirely oriented toward fat storage. By cutting food 3 to 4 hours before bed, you give insulin time to fall, give your body temperature time to begin its natural descent, and you send a clear neurological signal to the brain that the hunting phase of the day is finished, the fast begins, the overnight burn can begin. Now, there is an important exception here. If you are someone who wakes up at 3 in the morning, heart racing, sweating, mind suddenly wide awake, that is likely nocturnal hypoglycemia, low blood sugar pulling you out of sleep. For that specific situation, a very small protein-rich snack before bed, a tablespoon of almond butter, a small scoop of collagen, acts as a glucose bridge to get you through the night without the spike and crash. But once your metabolism becomes more flexible, the goal is always to close the kitchen early, because nothing unlocks the maximal pulsatile release of human growth hormone like an extended overnight fast. 2 hours before sleep, you need to change your light environment. And this step is the one most people completely ignore while unknowingly destroying the entire hormonal sequence that follows. Your eyes are not just cameras, they are hormonal input devices. Buried inside your retina are specialized cells called melanopsin ganglion cells.
and these cells are extraordinarily sensitive to one specific type of light, the blue spectrum frequencies emitted by LED bulbs, phone screens, televisions, and laptop displays. When those frequencies hit these cells, a direct signal fires to the brain's master clock, the suprachiasmatic nucleus, and that signal says one thing: it is noon. Keep cortisol high, keep the system awake. Which means that the person lying in bed scrolling through their phone at 10:45 p.m. is, from a neurological standpoint, standing in direct sunlight at midday. The body has no idea it's supposed to be winding down. Melatonin is suppressed, cortisol stays elevated, the shift change never happens, the night crew never comes in. The fix is deliberate environmental design. 2 hours before sleep, turn off every overhead light in your home. Overhead light mimics the sun's angle and intensity. Replace it with floor lamps or table lamps fitted with warm amber bulbs. The angle matters, the warmth of the color matters. If you are watching television, put on blue light blocking glasses, not because they look good, they don't, but because they are a physical barrier protecting the hormonal sequence you are about to initiate. As your light environment darkens and shifts warm, melatonin begins to rise naturally. And here is something most people have never heard. Melatonin does not just make you sleepy, it binds to receptors in the pancreas and actively suppresses insulin secretion. It physically prepares your cells for the fat-burning fast that is about to begin.
90 minutes out, do something that sounds like the opposite of what you'd expect. Take a hot shower or hot bath. The science behind this is called the warm bath effect, and it works through vasodilation. When your skin is exposed to heat, your blood vessels expand and blood floods toward the surface of your body in an attempt to radiate that heat away and cool your core. The key moment is when you step out. When you move from the hot water into a cooler room, your core body temperature drops sharply and rapidly. That steep temperature decline is one of the most powerful biological triggers for deep sleep that exists. It mimics the cooling effect of sunset in nature, the environmental cue your nervous system has been programmed to respond to for hundreds of thousands of years. Beyond the temperature mechanics, heat also directly lowers cortisol. The physical relaxation of your muscles under warm water reduces the tone of your sympathetic nervous system, the fight-or-flight system that keeps cortisol airborne. You emerge from that shower with a lower heart rate, looser muscles, and a body that is beginning biochemically to surrender to rest. 1 hour before sleep, you need to deal with the cortisol that lives not in your body, but in your mind. Because even if your physical cortisol is dropping, your psychological cortisol can keep the whole system locked up. You know exactly what this feels like. Your body is exhausted, your eyes are heavy, but the moment your head hits the pillow, your brain turns on. The email you forgot to send, the conversation you keep replaying, the list of everything you have to do tomorrow. This is called the Zeigarnik Effect. Your brain has an almost compulsive grip on unfinished tasks and open loops, keeping them active in working memory so they don't get lost. But that background hum of unresolved mental activity is a cortisol pump. It keeps your nervous system in a low-grade state of alertness that prevents the deep sleep stages where human growth hormone is actually released. The solution is disarmingly simple. Get a physical notepad and a pen, not your phone. Your phone is a light source and a dopamine trap. And write everything down. Every worry, every task, everything that needs to happen tomorrow. By externalizing the data, you complete the loop. You tell your brain, in a language it understands, that this information is stored, it is safe, it will not be forgotten, and you can release it. This single act creates a hard psychological boundary between today and tomorrow, and it is one of the most underrated tools for lowering evening cortisol available to any human being. 45 minutes out, this is where optional biochemical support can come in. Not to knock you out, but to provide the raw materials your own sedation system needs to do its job. 3 to 5 grams of glycine, an inhibitory amino acid, has been shown in clinical research to lower core body temperature and accelerate the transition into the deep sleep stages where the majority of HGH release occurs.
Magnesium bisglycinate, not magnesium oxide, the cheap version, works by reducing the sensitivity of your adrenal glands to ACTH, the signal that triggers cortisol production. It acts as a buffer for your stress response at the cellular level. And apigenin, found naturally in chamomile tea, binds to benzodiazepine receptors in the brain to produce a mild, clean sedative effect without the dependency or side effects of pharmaceutical sleep aids. None of these are mandatory. You can achieve everything this protocol promises without a single supplement. But if you want to amplify the results, this stack works in the direction of your biology rather than against it. 30 minutes before sleep, the final step, and this one is physical. You need to manually switch your nervous system from sympathetic to parasympathetic, from fight or flight to rest and repair. And the most direct tool available to you is your own breath. Sit on the edge of your bed. Inhale deeply through your nose for 4 seconds, filling your lungs completely. Hold for 2 seconds. Then exhale slowly through your mouth for 8 seconds, fully emptying. The exhale must be longer than the inhale. This is not optional. It is the mechanism. The longer exhale increases the pressure in your thoracic cavity and directly stimulates the vagus nerve, which signals your heart to slow down, your blood pressure to drop, and your entire nervous system to shift state. 10 rounds of this, and you will feel a physical change. Not a mental trick, a measurable physiological transition. This is the final all-clear signal. The body is ready.
Now step back and see the whole picture. What you have just built is a slope, an 8-step descent from full waking alertness down into the deepest, most hormonally rich sleep your body is capable of producing. Most people try to jump off a cliff, maximum stress, maximum stimulation, and then they expect their body to immediately surrender into deep restorative sleep. The body cannot make that leap. The nervous system doesn't work that way. It needs a gradient. It needs permission to decelerate. And when you give it that permission, when you cut the food, shift the light, heat and cool the body, clear the mind, support the chemistry, and breathe your way down, something remarkable happens. Instead of spending the night managing a blood sugar crisis or fighting low-grade inflammation, your body spends those 8 hours doing exactly what it was designed to do. It floods your system with human growth hormone. It activates glucagon to pull fatty acids from visceral stores. It repairs, rebuilds, and leans you out from the inside while you sleep. You wake up lighter, not because of what you did in the gym, because of what you allowed your body to do in the dark. The science is not complicated. The execution is not painful, but the consistency, that is where everything is decided. Build the slope tonight.